The Fake Baseball Podcast is brought to you by Moonshots MLB. Whether season-long, DFS, or wagering is your thing, Moonshots MLB has the tools and content to help you succeed. All in one place in an easy-to-navigate, clean user interface. Basic stats combined with the enriched StatCast data provide you a unique and fun experience. Weekly projections and weekly schedule to spot matchups for your start-sit decisions for the season-long players. DraftKings and FanDuel projections and optimizer for the DFSers. Wagering, got that too. A full odds board with game lines and player props for multiple markets and sportsbooks, featuring calculated ROI and so much more. If Moonshots MLB isn't part of your fantasy, DFS, or wagering process, you are missing out. Be a part of a growing and exciting community. Follow them on X at Moonshots MLB for more information. Moonshots MLB, more than just your average launch angle. What is up, everybody? Week 4 in the fantasy baseball world has begun, and we are back again as always. I got to get the Griffey shirt in camera. There we go. It is Blake Meyer. I don't know why I just said my first name like that, but I'm back again with my man Dylan Liddell. Dylan, how you doing today?
What up, man? I'm doing good. Yeah, I don't know. Fun weekend of baseball, I guess. Mariners look a little bit better after yesterday. Yeah, I'm ready to get into some stuff.
It's about time they look good. Yesterday's game was actually enjoyable to watch for fucking once
Right.
in what feels like forever.
Most runs they put
scored
up
9 runs,
right? Or no? Was it
for
the
real?
extras
And
game?
I think the 9 was the most. I think
Right?
the extras
Yeah,
game they
that's what I
got
thought.
7.
Yeah.
And John, I mean, we should talk about him for a second. It's not the point of the episode, but Jonathan Class A got called up from AAA Tacoma and made his first start for the Seattle Mariners yesterday. And let's be honest, he looked pretty damn good.
He looked
Dylan,
really
how are you
calm.
feeling about Class A right now?
He looked really calm
That
and
hit was
control up
impressive.
there. Right. He stayed on it. I mean, it wasn't a great pitch to hit, but when you're down in the count, 2 strikes, you just got to make something happen. And it's, yeah, like you said, it was impressive. He stayed on it. And that's a lesson that could be learned from the other guys on the team, because that's just putting bat on ball, making the defense make a play. And if it gets past him, you get rewarded for a hit. And in his case, it was his first one, big time RBI too. Yeah, man, I like him. I like the idea of Class A, another speedy guy in the outfield. This team needs defense more than anything right now, and I think he's going to be a big upgrade out there. But I mean, shame on me. I didn't know he was a switch hitter either. And you know how this team loves the handness matchups. Like that's going to play into his benefit too. And yeah, man, I'm excited about this guy a lot more than I was even 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, he is a guy that, I mean, you were at spring training with me last year. And my daughter got a favorite baseball player out of nowhere because he talks to her for a minute in center field. And it was Jonathan Class A. And
oh, okay.
I almost said her name. I'm not big on saying names, but
No.
she has not shut up about Class A since last year. Wouldn't you know, he's the one that gets the call today. So
how about that? I didn't even know that.
Pretty
That's
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, it was him, and she was very excited. So yeah, we've been kind of monitoring Class A since then. And so to see him at the in the big leagues, I might have to buy some tickets now, get some seats out there in left field.
I think
see how it goes. But
yeah,
I was really hoping he was going to stay in the minors for longer. Are you? Which game are you going to?
Some is the D-back series. It's a weekend series. We're still talking about it. Not sure.
Ooh.
We're still trying to work it out, but yeah.
I got to get to a couple games this year. It's hard that we live so far away. Like geographically, we don't live that far away from the stadium, but the traffic around Seattle, I'm sure everybody's seen pictures of like LA traffic. It's essentially the same. If you're trying to go to Seattle from where we are, like go north to
Only
Seattle,
a couple ways
anytime
up there.
after 3:00, you're not going anywhere.
No.
So yeah, we live 40 miles away and it takes 2 hours to drive there and then just as long to get back. It sucks.
Yeah.
But I am going to a Rainiers game next week. Found out from
Those are
Tyler.
also
I'm
fun.
going to be in the Diamond Club,
Underrated.
baby. Diamond Club, sitting right behind home plate, walking down the tunnel with the players.
Rainiers are always
be cool.
a good, fun team, regardless of how the Mariners are. The Rainiers are always good.
Yeah, and they got I'm hoping Keuchel's on the mound. I would love that.
Yeah.
Samad Taylor in the lineup. I was hoping Class A was going to be there when I got there. I wanted to watch him down there, but getting to watch him at the big club, I can deal with that.
Right.
One thing I can't deal with though, and many other fantasy baseball players can't, slow starts. It happens to the best of players. Some guys more, and that is why we are here. It is the beginning of week 4, which means it is time to fire up the worry meter. Some early guys are worth worrying about. Some aren't. And then there's some later on guys, maybe like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round guys that you really hoped had that high upside that haven't really panned out. You're not quite sure what to do. So we figured we would cover our favorites or the ones that we get asked about the most on this episode. Last episode was a great episode. Go check that out. That was our most viewed episode on YouTube by an absolute fucking mile. You guys never cease to amaze me with how much of our content you watch. I love it. I'm very grateful for everybody that does. I appreciate it. But first person we wanted to talk about on the worry meter is, I was going to do a drum roll, but that doesn't go over well in audio. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Right now, Vladdy, the pop is there. He's got 3 ding dongs this year. He's got almost a 15% walk rate, but he's hitting just 1.8 right now, which I know is not what you were hoping for when you drafted Vladdy, likely in the 2nd round. Dylan, how worried are you about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. right now?
Not at all. And if we get into the second guy who I think we're going to, he's in the same boat too. Like, Vladdy is just fine, an extremely unlucky hitter right now. And it's easy to point out and when somebody points out an expecting batting average after each and every at bat, it gets a bit annoying. I like it better in a large sample size. And Vlad's hitting at an expecting batting average of 285 right now, 90, just under 95 on his average exit velocity. So walking at a great clip, or striking out under 20%, still doing Vladdy things. Launch angle's a little low right now, but it's nothing really crazy. He's been around this before. Sweet spot, a little low. But what else here? Let me see. He's pull percent's right at 40%, good. Fly ball rate 22%, just hair under average, which is fine. Line drive rate's right at average. He's looking fine right now. I just think he's running into some bad luck, hitting balls hard, and they'll start to find their gaps. It's just too much has been not going his way. Baseball's a weird game. You'll run into these spurts where you hit everything hard, and it just doesn't find a way to reward you. But you stick with it, keep hitting stuff hard. They'll find a way. They'll find their patches and stuff like that.
Yeah, and keep hitting the ball hard is the perfect segue for my take on Vladdy, because last episode we talked about that 90th percentile exit velocity. Vladdy is 3rd in all of baseball with 110.8 90th percentile exit velocity, which is one of the biggest predictors of continued power in terms of home runs. So seeing him do that is big. That does give me hope. And then just seeing things like his line drive rate has got up to 22%, which is a career high. Line drives are what you want to be hitting. But unfortunately for Vladdy, it went up because his fly ball rate dipped 7% this year, and it did lean a little more into ground balls too. So he's going to likely need to turn some of those ground balls at like a 50% ground ball rate. Vladdy is not fast enough, and he's too damn big to be hitting 50% ground balls, no matter how hard he is hitting them. So he needs to turn those into fly balls, and he's pulling just 6% of his fly balls, which, again, not overly great, but he's not chasing pitches. He's making the zone contact above 80%, like we've talked about, that we like to see. Vladdy will come around. The batting average will be there. He's been an interesting case of a player the last few years because he did have that big year back in 2021 when they played in like that minor league stadium or whatever it was, and he put those massive numbers, flirting with 50 home runs. Everybody thought that was going to be the real deal of Vladdy from now on. His home run numbers have dropped back-to-back years. I think it went down to 32 and then 28. Mm-hmm. I think the real Vladdy is a 30 home run hitter, and I think we're still going to get 30 home run hitting Vladdy, even with where he's at now. He's showing that the power's there. The average will come back to. He hit 264 last year. He's probably that 264 hitter. So that'll come back. Again, like you were mentioning, it's just really bad luck for Vladdy. He's already 1 for 1 today as we record this. So his batting average has gone up to 200. He is at the Mendoza line, which is what we love to see. So yeah, don't worry about Vladdy. I know it's tough. I know he hasn't got up to the hot start that we all wanted. We want every player we ever draft to just come out of the gate and hit a home run every single game, every single day. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. But yeah, so be patient with Vladdy. He's not even, in terms of worry meter, he's not even in my I need to bench him for now section of my worry meter. I'm still just running him out there every day as if nothing's different. That's how you should feel about Vladdy right now. But transitioning from Vladdy into somebody that I actually got asked about dropping on Monday,
this is what
which was wild.
Yeah,
Bryce Harper. Obviously, he hasn't done what we hoped he was going to do. All of his home runs so far this year, he's got 3, which is cool, but they all came in one game, which is like cool, but also not cool at the same time. But yeah, I got asked about whether we should be considering dropping him now. I'm going to start this out by saying, for the love of God, do not drop Bryce Harper. That shouldn't even cross your mind. It shouldn't cross your mind for many of these guys. Please don't do that.
Sounds
that
like
is
a
the
scam.
biggest
That's a
overreaction
on
of all
the timeline.
For real. But Dylan, how are you feeling about Harper right now?
Yeah, kind of the same way about Vladdy. He's going to be just fine. Like, there's no world, like you were saying, that he should be dropped or placed on waivers anywhere. Yeah, just same kind of thing, running into bad luck. He's hitting balls hard. Zone contact rate is fine. 86%, like 87% tick under. He's just fine. He's still hitting balls hard. Not as hard as Vladdy, but still up there, 92 miles an hour. Striking out a little bit, but that's fine. Like 23% is not going to kill you. He's getting his walks, chasing a little bit, but just kind of maybe getting a feel for things. Bryce Harper is just never a guy I'm going to worry about.
Facts. Give me 1 second, you guys. My front door opened, and I'm the only adult in the house, so I don't understand why my front door opened. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, so Blake's going to take care of that. Yeah, no, Bryce has too good of a track record to be worried about at this point. Yeah, I don't really know what else to be said. This is usually the point of the spiel where Blake really gets nerdy with everything. Hope everything's all right in the house, though. Trying to see some other things that stand out to me, at least. Let's see here. This is great podcasting, guys. I apologize. Let's see. Yeah. Blake's really good at this feeling part, as you can tell. Let's look at his. Let's see what he's hitting on each pitch and all that. Where are we at here? Computer's a little slow right now. There he is. I was trying to fill in as best as I can, but yeah, I was doing as best as I could.
Hey, according to Matthew, sounds like you did a good job.
I was saying this is where you really get into your nerd talk, and I just let you do your thing. I was trying to find some stuff that stood out to me, but I was drawing crickets. Go for it, man. Bryce Harper.
Oh, for Harper? First of all, Bryce Harper, this has nothing to do with fantasy baseball. I cannot believe the kids opened the front door. Sorry. That was insane. First of all, he's got 3 outs above average at first base already. That has nothing to do with fantasy baseball. But what are the chances Bryce Harper goes from a right fielder with a cannon to being like one of the best defensive first basemen in baseball? I would have never saw that coming. But in terms of Harper, the biggest thing that I see with him, he's not pulling fly balls anymore, which is something that can be fixed. It's a small sample size. Small sample sizes are what you want to make of him, but he has a 107.8 mile an hour, 90th percentile EV. League average is like 104.8 miles an hour. But he's only pulling 2.2% of fly balls. I think league average is just shy of 9%. He thrives on pulling fly balls for very long home runs. He is pulling the ball a good amount this year. And he's leaning more into fly balls this year because his line drive rate is one of the lowest of his career. They're just not turning into pulled fly balls, which is what we're going to need to see from him in order to see those big home run numbers. That will come. Something like that is a fairly simple fix for a player like Bryce Harper. So that kind of thing can change quicker rather than something that may take into like a end of May scenario to be able to normalize. They can flip that switch and he can start pulling fly balls. I mean, I'd appreciate if he did it right now because I think I have Bryce Harper in 5 leagues. So like if he could start, stop trying to hit the ball to all fields, get the ball in the air a little more, help me out a little bit here. That would be nice. But yeah, I'm not worried about Bryce Harper. The Phillies in general have been kind of off to a slow start, some of them, which is going to be a segue into our next one. But I'm not worried about Bryce Harper. You drafted him that early. You can't give up on him now. You can't give up on Bryce Harper at all, ever. I don't want to see you drop Bryce Harper unless you're in a redraft league and he gets hurt. Yeah, I'm just like it. Guys like that, you just can't worry about it. He'll be okay. But the next guy that I want to switch to, Matthew said,
yeah,
we'll put it up on the screen here. We're all just hoping Blake wasn't about to star on Law and Order. Not going to be on Law and Order, but going to be on Your Ass is Grounded for a while. That's definitely going to happen when I get off here. You're a child. Somebody was at the door selling cookies, and the kids thought it was a great idea to open the door themselves to see what kind of cookies the kids were selling. So that's awesome. But next, we'll keep it in the same team. We'll keep it in that Phillies team. Nick Castellanos would be another one. So with Bryce Harper, the Warrior, is that like a 0, right? For you? Is that where you would probably say that right now?
He's good. I mean, if anything, go get him while you can if people are trying to dump him. Like, if that's really the case.
Absolutely.
Do that now. He'll be fine.
He makes a great buy low candidate. So for the first person that I am actually worried about this year, they're not going to get dropped because I still can't really drop these people. But Nick Castellanos is having a painful season. That's the only way that I can think to put it.
You don't think he's droppable?
If you look at his no, because I think Castellanos, I think if I can remember correctly, Castellanos was like a 7th round pick I think, or 8th round pick, right around in there. Anybody in the first 10 rounds of a draft, especially with the pedigree that he has and the fairly consistent track record of success that he has, I can't give up on them yet. He's only 32. He's not an old dude. He's still fairly young. He just came off a season which he hit 11 dingers, 11 stolen bases.
29, yeah.
Hit 29 dingers. With 37 doubles and a couple triples. I mean, he had almost 70 extra base hits with 11 stolen bases last year while hitting 272. Scored 100 or scored 79, drove in 100, struggling right now. I can't give up on him yet because that Castellanos is still in there. Now, obviously, that Castellanos hasn't shown up yet this year, which makes it very tough and very painful. So that's why he is on my worry meter. I'm going to put him at like a 5 out of 10 for now, which is probably lower than a lot of people are thinking. I put him like a 5 out of 10. I have him in a few leagues, and he is just benched. He's my bench outfielder right now. He's not going in case unless anybody's hurt, and I really don't want to put him in that situation. Anyways, he's got to figure it out because when he does figure it out, he's going to get hot and he's going to skyrocket, which is what Castellanos typically tends to do. We all saw him in the playoffs last year. The dude was you couldn't pitch to him. He was hitting everything for a home run. The relationship he has with his son is cool. His son sits like right outside the batter's box watching his dad play. Like, I love all of that. I can't give up on Nick Castellanos, but Dylan, how are you feeling about him right now? Where's he at on your worry meter?
Very worried, but I think I feel a little bit worse about him too. I didn't realize he was only 32. But man, there's just a lot of ice cubes going on his Savant page right now. I'm just having a hard time finding the silver lining here, like what I should be optimistic about. He does have the track record, he is a good hitter. But I mean, 2022, he only had 13 home runs. Granted, that was in about 100 less at bats, but still only had 13 home runs the year prior to 2023. I mean, if you're talking about him being your bench outfielder, and obviously this is a hindsight situation, but if he was I don't know if you guys can hear Chance in the back, I apologize. But if you're talking about him being your bench outfielder, and I just picked Colton Cowser off of waivers in our points league this past week, I would have dropped a Castellanos for a Cowser.
And to be fair, I don't think I would have blamed you for that because it makes sense. I can see why people would drop him. I do get it. I guess I don't know. There's not a ton in his profile that is much different. I guess he's pulling the ball less. That's the only real difference I see. He's pulling the ball less and hitting more fly balls, which isn't necessarily great.
Yeah.
And his infield fly ball percent is 13%, which is the highest of his career, which isn't great. That's something that normalizes over time. Like that will come back down. His career number is 3.9%. So he's hitting more fly balls. He's got the same average exit velocity. His barrel rate sucks, but he's got the same hard hit rate. He's making better zone contact. He's making a little worse contact outside of the zone. He's chasing the exact same amount of pitches, swinging essentially the same exact amount, swinging the exact same amount in the zone. I mean, his swinging strike rate is better than last year. I feel like a lot of what he has going on is just a weak contact issue rather than a strikeout issue. And I think weak contact issues are easier to fix than a strikeout issue. It's one thing to just be swinging and missing all the time, because if you swing and miss, that's just kind of your game. You end up like an Ellie or like a Teoscar Hernandez. You just kind of swing and miss a lot, and that's part of your game. But he's at least making contact. He's seeing the pitches well enough to get the bat on the ball. He just has to get the barrel on the ball. I think that comes. I don't know when. I get it if you want to drop him. because his start has been bad enough to where you could drop him and just wait it out till the good days come. But I don't know. I'm not there yet. I probably will be at some point, but I'm not there yet right now.
Just looking at my team real quick. This one's obvious. Kyle Tucker, the rest of the way points. Kyle Tucker, Castellanos. Tucker, right? Obvious. Jung Ho Lee or Castellanos, rest of the way.
Points league, Lee. Every other league type, Castellanos, I think.
Jazz.
I want Jazz over Castellanos anyways.
Okay. And this would okay, fuck, I'll just say it. Nolan Jones. This is another tough one and another name we'll get into.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, that's a perfect segue too.
Yeah.
I would rather have Nolan Jones than
seeing this is the predicament I was in.
I think.
Like, and these are all guys that I agree that I would rather have over Castellanos too. Like, if that was the situation I was put in, but like I had another outfielder I was able to dump for Cowser. But if like push came to shove and Castellanos was the one to get the boot out of all those guys, I'm picking Castellanos if I had to, and picking up Cowser for him.
Yeah, I feel that. I will say I do like Colton Cowser better than Castellanos. I think I would have dropped Castellanos for Colton Cowser too. I'm just so thankful that me and you did our due diligence on Colton Cowser. But I don't know either. But like, I'm glad we did our due diligence on him on this podcast before the season because I drafted him everywhere.
And a quick Michael Bush. There's been no mention of him over here. Shout out him going crazy. No, has nothing to do with this episode. That's just free Matt Bush love. He's Michael Bush. Sorry. Yeah. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It needs to be given. 5 straight games of the home runs, crazy. After he couldn't find his way onto a Dodgers team that was stacked, and they kept sending him down to AAA, which is weird. He was like 26. He didn't need to be mashing against AAA pitching. Everybody knew he could mash against AAA pitching. So it's cool to see him in Chicago actually being able to make an impact because damn, that bat is crazy. Like that dude hits dingers like regularly now, and I love it. But I think we should actually, so 1 through 10, where is Castellanos on your worry meter?
Well, yeah, I really don't want too much to do with them. I'll go 7.5.
7.5. Okay, I feel it. We'll transition into the next guy you just mentioned. Somebody else I get asked about a ton. Nolan Jones for the Colorado Rockies. I will say he is 0 for 2 today, so his batting average now sits at an amazing 176. With a BABIP of almost 300. He's got 1 home run, 4 doubles and a triple, stole a base, but he's striking out almost 40% of the time so far this year. Dylan, how are you feeling about Nolan Jones right now?
Yeah, I'm a bit conflicted because initially I didn't have too high of an opinion on him. More, we both talked about him. I kind of bought into it a little bit, and now I am sort of in the middle. I don't know whether to just fully back it up or, I mean, he 2020 last year, but man, 40% is rough. I don't care when and how that's happening. That is rough.
Yeah.
But still hitting the ball when he does make contact, like 92.5 miles per hour off the bat, still hot. Hard hit rate still doing fine. He's not chasing a whole lot, which I guess is the optimism here. But I don't know. 40% is just that's just a gut punch, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he's an interesting one because I was pretty high on him coming into this year. I saw a few of the red flags coming into the season, but I found reasons why they shouldn't be that worrisome. I just love a guy that can somehow find a way to go 20-20 in just like barely 100 games for a season. That you have to
That's
be
crazy.
special to be
That's
able to do
crazy.
that. Yeah. The problem is, I mean, last season he had a BABIP last season, if Fangraphs will update, of 401 in 106 games. A league leader in the BABIP category. If I were to look at last season, the league leader in BABIP amongst qualified hitters was. This new laptop loads so much quicker than the old laptop. I freaking love it. I mean, I'm recording on the old one, but 370 for Freddie Freeman was the league leader amongst qualified hitters. And even then, there was only 4 guys that were above 350 last year. His was at 401, which meant that he was likely to regress a bit this year. I didn't think he was going to regress that much. I thought the 290 batting average would dip to like 265.
Yeah,
I mean, I can live with 265 if over that much time you can give me freaking 25 in a season.
297 average last year with an expected just 250 last year.
Yeah. And I think so. Part of the optimism some people have for Nolan Jones this year is the Rockies have only played 6 games at home. Everybody knows Rockies hitters perform better at home. I get that. But Nolan Jones this year in 11 games away from Coors Field, he's hitting 159 with 5 extra base hits, including his 1 home run. At home, he's hitting 227 with a double in 6 games. Honestly, over an extended period of time, coming home to Coors Field and getting those 81 games in at Coors Field is going to help him in the long run. But as it sits right now, even Coors Field ain't helping him. And he is about to go home to Coors Field this weekend and face a Seattle Mariners pitching staff where he's going to have to face Bryce Miller, Luis Castillo, and George Kirby at home in Coors Field. So how much of an advantage is Coors Field really giving you if you have to face that level of pitching when you go back there? That's going to be a problem. My worry meter on Nolan Jones right now is probably I'll give it a 4. It's not. I'm gonna bump Castellanos to a 6. I'm gonna give Nolan Jones like a 4 on my worry meter because I do still think there's plenty of time for him to come back. Right around a 4. Yeah. That feels right. Like he's got time to come back. He's got time to bounce back. He has lately. He's had a few multi-hit games recently, which is promising for him. I mean, he's 0-8 in his last 2 games, but before that, he was 2 for 4 with a run scored and a double, 2 for 5 with a run scored, a home run, and 2 RBI. A couple more 2 hit games before that. So it's there. He's peeking out. He's kind of showing himself a little bit out and about. He just needs to come home, get back to hitting dingers, make us all happy, and that's what'll happen because everybody had Nolan Jones as a potential top 50 player upside hype on him this year. He's not coming anywhere near that, and he's not even sniffing the top 150 right now. So he has a big bounce back to do, but I think he could do it. So he's just at a 4 for me because I don't think this continues. Now, if we get to the end of May and it's still looking like this, I might be slightly a little bit worried, but we'll see.
There's enough on the plate.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And real quick, the Fake Baseball Podcast is also brought to you by our Patreon. Go check out the Patreon at patreon.com/the Fake Baseball Podcast. I just put an awesome article up there today. I am very biased because I wrote it, and I like to think everything that I write is awesome. Apparently, a lot of people do too. I got my favorite pitching streamer for every single day this week through Sunday is up there. Plus, I did my little quick hitter section of 9 different players that kind of just been on my mind lately in the fantasy baseball world. Jordan Westberg is one of them. Seth Lugo is another one of them. Just kind of put my random like scatterbrain thoughts out there. Little breakdowns, what I'm thinking. We do that every week, and every Wednesday we have a Patreon exclusive ad-free episode of this podcast that you can only find at the Patreon at patreon.com/the fake baseball podcast. It's only $5 a month, which is less than the cup of coffee that you bought yourself today. So make sure you guys go check that out, please. And I think we have to do it. We have to go to our sweet prince, Julio Rodriguez. Dylan, he may be the biggest disappointment of the baseball season thus far, not just for Mariners fans, but for fantasy baseball fans too. What is your thought process on J-Rod right now?
Well, I look at him a lot closer than I do a lot of the other players, just because he's on my TV every day. I'm really critical of the guys that I watch. I'm really critical of my team. I really get down with it. Man, his timing is all over the place. He just can't. He's just getting jammed. He's late. Guy was throwing 91, 92, and he's just getting fisted all day long. It was tough to see.
Pause.
Man, come on now. It was tough. Like, it was just all running stuff was running up on his hands. That's a baseball term. I ain't gonna pause for that one. He's chasing a shit ton. I don't know. It's like when he's making good swing decisions, he's hitting the ball hard, but there's just way too many of the bad decisions in between all of that to, and he's just not helping himself out, getting to those good counts to where he can make or take advantage of those better pitches. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's pressing too much. I don't know what it is. There's just something's not right. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing for me is he does seem to press because like the last couple of years he has ended the season so good, and he wants to be that guy for the Mariners that just puts up this elite season with these elite numbers, leads the team back to the playoffs. He wants to do all that. He's very vocal about wanting to do that. And I think pressing is the perfect word for it. He's trying to, instead of just playing baseball and letting his skills do that for him and his ability do that for him, he's trying to force himself to do that, which leads to more swing and misses. I don't know the stat or even how I would look this up. Newsflash, I don't know how to look up every stat in baseball. I swear to God, he has to lead baseball in 3-pitch strikeouts. He does it all the time.
There's got to be a way to find that. Yeah.
It drives me crazy. StatMuse probably got it. Yeah, he consistently, he has been in 2-strike counts many times. I'm not going to do the math on all that. It's that many times. He's been in 2-strike counts. He's only been in a 3-0 count 3 times this year. He's been in a 3-1 count 4 times this year, and he's been in a 3-2 count 10 times this year. That is it. Julio Rodriguez this year, so 10, well, I mean, because some of those 3-0s are going to become 3-1s and 3-2s. So roughly we'll say 14 times he's been up to bat in a 3-ball count this season. He has 68 plate appearances. That's not good at all. And I mean, even last year, he did start slow. The batting average sucked. I think he hit 230 in like March, April last year.
But the
home runs were still there. He was still hitting
right now.
He still hit like 5 home runs.
Yeah, I know that's the thing. Like Julio starts slow. This is very Luis starts slow. This feels really bad.
And then, like, he's hitting 190. His BABIP is 293. He has a career 330 BABIP.
His numbers against off speed are just atrocious too. I mean, 0 average, like just doing nothing, in a launch angle of -73. He's shopping. Just nothing. He's just not seeing off speeds. It's kind of, yeah, like that was a problem with him last year. Just not a good off speed hitter. Does okay with the breaking stuff, fastballs. He's got to jump on more fastballs too. When they're there, but that's just the thing with his timing. Everything's running up on his hands. Can't get any extension on anything. Can't catch a ball out in front, and that's where the money happens. When he gets a ball out in front, man, that thing rolls, and just not getting any of that right now.
Yeah, he doesn't have the patience to wait on off-speed pitches, unfortunately. He is a dude that mashes fastballs, and he'll likely always mash fastballs. It was an issue when he very first came up in 2022. Nobody threw him fastballs when he first came up as a rookie. Nobody threw him fastballs. It was like his first 10 games or whatever. He only got changeup, curveball, slider was the only thing people were feeding him. And it feels like teams are starting to trend back towards doing that. I mean, he's only seeing 38% of the pitches that he gets in the zone this year. That's it. For a guy that is as free swinging as Julio is, to only get 38% of your pitches in the zone, that's a problem. Yep. And then the amount of times he has just watched pitches go right down the middle, like fastball right down the middle in an 0-1 count.
Gotta jump on those.
Crazy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I don't get it. Because that's what we all like when we watch him. That's what we all think he's waiting for. He's waiting for an 0-1 fastball to get a little too much of the plate. And so when that pitch comes and he just doesn't move, it blows my mind, because at that point, what are you waiting for? If you're not going to wait for the slow stuff, but you're not sitting on fastball, where's your head at? What are you doing at the plate? Like, what you need to concentrate, you need to focus. I tell it to my boys all the time. Focus, use your head. Be in the moment right now. Don't be off thinking about other la-di-da, other things that are happening. Be in this moment right now. This is where your head needs to be at. I wish I could talk to Julio. I would tell him the same thing.
He's young enough.
Get through.
He's young
obviously
enough.
Scott Sewers can't get through to him, so maybe I would get through to him.
Right. And I'll put this out there too. It's kind of been lingering, like with Clase being up. And I brought this up to you, and you didn't like it too much. And I've said it to a few other people. It's like, say Clase does really get off to a good start, plays good defense, controls an outfield spot. Say in years' time, man, I don't know. Right field might be easier on Julio's body and allows him to really focus on the offensive side of his game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Clase in center field and Julio in right field. Not this season, but like in a year or so due time. Like, wouldn't surprise me if we're in that kind of situation. And I don't know if I hate that idea. If I'm being honest, if Clase can man a center field and hold it down, that's intriguing.
My only thing is I don't think Julio needs to move off of center, because the only real issue anybody has with Julio right now is just his bat. Like, defensively, I mean, he has the speed to play center. In terms of sprint speed for StatCast, 30 feet per second would be like an elite run, like just one like bolt. His average sprint speed is 29.6 feet per second, which is in the 98th percentile.
Yeah.
He's already at 3 outs above average in center field, which is in the 98th percentile. So like, he plays real good defense. I don't think playing center is hurting him, is my own thing.
No, and this is
can move around a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. My bad. We're on a little bit of a delay. I'm realizing.
But I don't. We'll see. I don't think that. I've seen a few people say that on Twitter. They shared your same thought process there. So it's not just you. I don't see how it benefits him or the team necessarily, because Julio is as fast as Jonathan Clase. Like, essentially, they're going to be like the same sprint speed in center field. Julio makes all the diving plays already. Class
Mhm.
A is pretty fucking good at that too, but Julio makes all of those already
Yeah.
himself. I'm not sure if that helps him in any way, but
It's
it's
just I don't
intriguing
know if
because it wouldn't surprise me. The
it's
Mariners do weird
it's
shit.
a
So
it's a I don't know if it's like stuck in my head with just seeing these bigger body center fielders. Specifically, they're playing center fielders. They just don't hold up. Like the durability for whatever reason, playing center field is just so much more taxing than a corner outfield spot. Byron Buxton. I mean, Kyle Lewis, I'm keeping the example up on the board. He did get hurt in the minors before he even came up to the majors. That was just his history. Fair to bring him up because he did win Rookie of the Year, just was never able to stay healthy.
yeah,
Byron Buxton, kind of the same thing, in and out of the lineup. Julio has a history of back problems himself. You'll see it, like he'll be wearing the heating pad on his back in between innings. I don't know. I definitely think it is something to think about if I'm the Mariners. Who knows if it will actually come to plan, but it's intriguing.
you make a valid point there. He does have a little bit of a back issue already, which isn't great, especially when he's like 24, I think.
I mean,
So it's not
he
great.
doesn't have the
Or he's
ideal center
23.
fielder. Doesn't have the ideal. I mean, he's a big center fielder, not the ideal frame for guys out there.
He is.
Didn't
That's
work for
true.
Aaron
That's
Judge
very
either.
true. So I guess in that sense, Julio could move. It didn't, and they still keep trotting his ass out there for
No, it's
whatever
dumb. Yeah.
reason. So worry meter for Julio. Where are you at 1 through 10?
The vibes are not good with Julio right now. I mean, he gets hot. I mean, it all changes, but like I need to see something, man. Just get on time for fastballs, make better swing decisions. I'm worried right now, but it can all change in a weekend. Like that's just how good he is. If he lets his tools takes over, he'll be fine, but just let that happen, man. Just quit pressing. Get back to being Julio.
Yeah, I'm at
I can't put a grade. I
I'm
don't
at a
want to.
0 on
I'm sorry.
Julio. That's where I'm at. I'm at a 0.
Yeah.
I'm at a 0 just because you likely took him second or third in your draft. If you fell beyond that, you were fucking stoked. He is that good. 32 home runs and 37 stolen bases last year while hitting 275. He had an insane second half of the season. This is very Julio, but not very Julio. Just with the lack of power aspect to it. But everything else, minus the lack of home runs, is essentially the same. He took a walk last night, which was good to see. He took that walk, and then Polanco hit the 3-run home run, which is awesome. He needs to start doing more of that. If he can get back to that version of himself, that's all you can ask for. Or will come with him. The stolen bases will come. He still stole 3 bases already this year, so that's there. And he's always going to bat at the top of the lineup. That will never change, ever. He's always going to bat second or third in that Mariners lineup. So yeah, I'm not worried about Julio. I'm gonna give him a 0. I'm going straight 0. Okay. But we appreciate all you guys for listening and making it this far into the episode. You guys are amazing. Whether you are listening to this live on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, if you guys could hit us with a like or a subscribe or a follow, that goes a long way towards helping us be able to continue to make these awesome episodes and put this awesome content out there for you guys to help you win your leagues. And it also helps you guys stay informed for when we do go live and post new content. You guys get a notification right away, and make sure you turn those notifications on. If you're listening to this on the podcast feed, if you could leave us a 5-star rating and review, we will love you long time. That is big for us. We just made it back into the top 90 today on the Apple Podcast Top 100 charts for fantasy sports podcasts. That puts us up there with, I mean, that's baseball, football, hockey, basketball, golf, F1, NASCAR, all of the fantasy podcasts out there that you can think of. We're in the top 100 of that shit, baby. And we want to keep that going. And we are able to keep that going by getting 5-star ratings and reviews and downloads from you guys. So if you guys can help us out with that, that would be amazing. We look forward to seeing you guys guys on our next episode this week. And do not forget to check out our next bonus episode that will be out tomorrow at patreon.com/thefakebaseballpodcast. We'll catch you guys later.